Retailers have a code that's attached to credit card transactions at movie theaters, bike stores, hair salons, but up until now, not for gun stores. But that's about to change as a result of a breakthrough decision. As many Squawk viewers know, and we've discussed on the program, I reported about 4 years ago that a majority of the deadliest mass shootings in America were the result of guns bought legally and, crucially, with credit cards. Many of the shooters needed the credit to afford the guns, and the FBI found clear suspicious buying patterns ahead of them. Yet banks and credit card companies were not able to flag those purchases, in large part because they couldn't. And so we talked about this idea on the air about a new merchant category code for gun stores. Well, Amalgamated Bank has spent the past year behind the scenes and made a formal proposal to do it. And this year, it happened on Friday after a fierce battle. They received a letter confirming the International Standards Organization voted in favor to create a special code for gun stores. Visa and MasterCard saying they will implement that code over the weekend. Joining us right now, first on CNBC, is Amalgamated Bank CEO Priscilla Sims Brown. And congratulations to you on what I know has been a long battle that you have been involved in to get this to happen.
Thank you.
Let's talk about it, because it has been a battle for you. You made an application to do this earlier in the year. It was rejected. You went back at it, and then you got the support of all sorts of politicians around the country, attorneys generals and others, pension funds who actually sent letters to those to some of the credit card companies, asking them to disclose their position on it. What happened? What do you think what do you think really moved the needle here this time?
Well, I think it was awareness. I think most people had no idea that every single merchant category in the country, and in fact in the world, this is a global standard, had a merchant category code except firearms dealers.
How big a deal is this, and what do you think the implications are in terms of what has to happen next?
I think it's a big deal. I think it'll save lives, and that's pretty exciting. What has to happen next, now that the three credit card companies have said they will enact the code, the next thing that has to happen is that merchant banks have to actually utilize the code. And that means disaggregating the codes they currently have for these firearm stores, which are either miscellaneous or sporting goods.
And what do you tell those viewers, and we were talking about it downstairs earlier, who say, look, I don't want to be tracked. I don't like the idea of tracking me. And that there are some people who say this goes against the Second Amendment. What do you tell those people?
Yeah. First of all, we don't track. Tracking is illegal, and it's also inappropriate. We cannot see what is being purchased in the store. We only know that purchases have been made. That's the first thing I'd say. Second thing I'd say is, bookstores, political organizations, religious organizations, all of these have merchant codes. And we have free speech rights in this country. No one is complaining about the loss of those free speech rights by tracking those, because we don't track.
But for this to work, if you will, and when I think we all want to save lives. I have children. A lot of people have children, teachers, Americans. Everybody wants this to work in this regard. There's some form of tracking that needs to go on, because what you want is those suspicious patterns, buying patterns, to be identified in advance, and for somebody to get a phone call.
That's right. So it happens two ways. One is we can reverse engineer a crime, right? We can reverse engineer what happened in mass shootings, what has happened with the proliferation of guns on the street, right? Mm-hmm. And we can create algorithms that help detect those patterns. Secondly, we can sort of think about what people might do, right, and create these patterns. Once these algorithms are created, and we detect that suspicious activity has occurred, it is incumbent upon us. It is our obligation as a financial services firm to make sure that that activity is not happening on our rails. So we report to FinCEN, and we say this is...
FinCEN is part of the Treasury Department.
That's right.
But then they have to then take that information, right, there's a number of steps. They have to take that information and call the local police authority or the FBI in that local district, right?
Yes.
And then they have to actually, then go either make a phone call or do something else.
Or determine that the suspicious activity we're reporting follows another program they're looking at, or fits a mosaic that they've developed, and then react to it.
Right.
That's their part of the job.
The other side of this says, well, people, if they don't buy guns with cash already, they will in the future. What do you say to that?
It takes a village. I mean, look, cash purchases may be happening today. I'm sure they are, and maybe to a great degree. I see that a lot of people talk about that on the web, and cash purchases will happen in the future. What I hope is that if you are running a firearms dealer business and you see someone come in with $10,000 or $20,000 in cash to make purchases of guns and ammunition, hopefully that sparks your interest and you see it as suspicious and you react accordingly. I'm only obligated and able to control what happens across my rails.